to make the peace sign, all you will need is a cut up magazine pages, some glue, and then a thin can. So I'm using this tomato paste. It seems to have the perfect diameter. So you're going to go ahead and cut your magazine pages into quarters like I've done. So you're going to cut into quarters lengthwise. And then the other thing you'll need is a barbecue stick. If you don't have a barbecue stick, you can also use the inside of a pen or anything else that's fairly thin. Now, the color that's going to show on these tubes that we're going to make is whatever is on the bottom. So I love this blue right here, so I'm going to put that on the bottom. Now to make a roll, you're going to put your rolling tool on the bottom right corner, and then the hardest part is to get this tab right here to go underneath, and then you're going to roll. Now you're doing all the work with your right hand. Your left hand is just guiding the paper down the skewer. So all the work is done with the skewer. It will take a few times for you to get a nice even tension. It's okay, but you'll catch, once you catch on, it goes fairly quickly. So once you have made your first tube and then glued the other end, take it off your rolling tool, and then you're going to flatten it. So let me show you that one more time. Again, whatever colors that you want, that you prefer, put it on the bottom. Take your rolling tool, put it in the bottom corner, and then you're going to roll diagonally. Again, all the work is done with the tool. I've seen some people try to wind the paper around, but you'll never get a nice even tension that way. And then you glue the end down with just a little bit of white glue or glue stick, whatever you have. Make sure it's held down. Take it off and flatten it. So you're going to go ahead and make a bunch. Now, since I'm doing a peace sign, I wanted to make sure it was in bright colors. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to take whatever one you want first, and you are going to wind it around the can. That'll make sure that you get a really nice circle. Now for this, I'm using tomato paste because I like the size of the circle that it creates. So you're going to glue that down at the end. Wherever one ends, you're going to start the next one. So I really like this green. So put the end down wherever the other one ended, I mean. Make sure it's tight and wind it around. And glue in place. And you're going to keep repeating this until you get the thickness that you want. That part's really up to you. So this is going to be roll number 3 for me. Roll it around. Really, the trick is just making it as tight as possible. And if you want to add extra glue, that's totally fine. And then I think I like this one. So that's going to be roll number 4. So this is how thick it is already. And I think this will probably be the last one. So this is roll 5. But feel free to use more or less depending on how wide you really want this. I think 5 is about right. But that's an individual choice. Make sure that last one is glued down and held in place. And then you're going to carefully remove this from the can. You won't need the can again. And then you have this perfect, oops, no big deal, circle. Hold it in place. Now to make the rest of the peace sign. Now, for the middle part right here, you're going to go ahead and take whatever color you like, and you want it to be, when you go to start folding this, you want it to be a little bit shorter than the distance from here to here, because once you start folding this, it will get longer. So I'm adding glue all the way down. Now in this time, all I'm doing is bringing it over and flattening it, just like so. Don't be afraid to use a lot of glue. So it'll be like that. And I'm going to go ahead and add one more. But again, that part's up to you. It just really depends on how fat you want that middle part of the peace sign. So again, and then you're going to add glue on the top and the bottom and place it inside. Like so. I didn't realize that peace signs were invented in the 60s as a reaction to getting rid of nuclear weapons. Now for the two side arms, I'm going to try to find two that are fairly similar, as far as just maybe similar colors at least. So let me see which two will work for me. This one has a bit of purple in it. I think I'm going to do this one and this one. Now for the side arms, you want it, again, to be a little bit shorter than what it takes to go from the middle to the outer edge. So for me, that's right here, and fold that over. Now because this is a lot shorter, we're only going to use one piece for the arm, for each arm. And then you're going to do the same thing where you're just going to fold and flatten. And squeeze it tight. And then you're going to add glue to the top and bottom again. Top, bottom. And place that in there. Then I'll go ahead and do the same thing with the other one. making sure it's the same length. Glue down the strip. While I'm doing this, it would be a great time for you to like and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any of the weekly tutorials. They are always related to upcycling paper, whether it's book folding, making these magazine rolls, bookmarks, all sorts of really fun things. So search through the playlists and get creative. And if you wouldn't mind commenting below on some of your favorite paper crafts to make. It's nice to inspire others. And if you enjoy making these out of upcycled magazines, you can check out the playlist, the magazine roll playlist that I've created. It has angels, it has butterflies and dragonflies and snowmen and bunnies, all sorts of things. And there's your peace sign. Now to make this stronger, we're going to go ahead and put some Mod Podge on this. And then once the Mod Podge is dried, we're going to go ahead and add some of the acrylic spray. And then we're going to put some twine around this and make it so it can hang. So when you're working with the Mod Podge, I like to just pour some of this out on this butcher paper so that nothing will stick to it. And then I use this sponge brush. If you don't have one, you can just really use your finger. And you're going to brush a generous amount on your peace sign. It's best to let it dry, the original glue to dry first before you put on the Mod Podge. Of course, I'm not listening to my own advice. Make sure you coat all of the sides because this is what's going to seal everything and hardens everything. And then when this dries, we'll go ahead and add some acrylic spray to make it even sturdier and a little bit of waterproof. And then add the twine. When I add the twine, I like to add some beads as well, just to give it just that little extra. So we'll set this aside and let this dry for about an hour. You'll know it's dry because everything will be dried clear. And then we'll meet back and I'll show you the finishing touches. So once it's dried, you're going to go ahead and spray it with the acrylic. And you're going to do both sides. And then once it's dry, you're going to take some twine or some ribbon, yarn, whatever you have, and cut a generous piece. And then you're going to put it through like so. And then take the ends and pull it through the loop. Like so. That just is a nice, easy way to hang it. And then I like to take some of these pony beads, but you can use any kind of bead you have. I just like that they have a very nice sized hole. And I'm going to go ahead with a rainbow theme to go with my piece and thread my beads on. And then we'll just go ahead and tie that off. I just like using rainbow colors when I'm using peace signs. I think it's very Woodstocky, but You could just do one solid wooden bead. That's always really nice. Nice thing about using magazine pages is you'll never have two that are exactly the same. So they are truly unique. And these sell really nice at craft fairs. What is the blue? For some reason I thought that was the purple for Zach. And just going to pull that a little bit tighter. But there you have it. And then I'm just going to tie that off with a little knot. Because I'm using twine, everything kind of stays really nicely. And then this you could hang from your rear view mirror. You could do it on a Christmas tree, hanging on a peg in the kitchen or where your keys are. Lots of different ideas there.